22. The Bestowing Virtue.
We have come to the last chapter of the first part, and the longest in it. Here, Zarathustra will basically sum up his teachings until now. The result, in my view, is one of the best chapters in the book.
1. When Zarathustra had taken leave of the town to which his heart was attached, the name of which is the Pied Cow, there followed him many people who called themselves his disciples, and kept him company. Thus came they to a crossroad. Then Zarathustra told them that he now wanted to go alone, for he was fond of going alone. His disciples, however, presented him at his departure with a staff, on the golden handle of which a serpent twined round the sun. Zarathustra rejoiced on account of the staff, and supported himself thereon. Then spake he thus to his disciples.
Zarathustra decides to leave the Pied Cow, the city he dwelled in and around for the entirety of the first part. And here, for the first time, we learn that he amassed a large following while there. They call themselves his disciples, but the way it is phrased shows that he isn't comfortable with this term. If you are truly a follower of Zarathustra, you cannot be a disciple. Anyway, his disciples go out with him to greet him farewell, and they present him with a parting gift, a staff. The golden handle that adorns the staff is shaped as a serpent wrapped around the sun, and we already know what these metaphors mean. But Zarathustra himself is going to analyze it, so I will not interpret it just yet.
Tell me, pray, how came gold to the highest value? Because it is uncommon, and unprofiting, and beaming, and soft in lustre, it always bestoweth itself. Only as image of the highest virtue came gold to the highest value. Gold-like beameth the glance of the bestower. Gold lustre maketh peace between moon and sun. Uncommon is the highest virtue, and unprofiting, beaming is it, and soft of lustre. A bestowing virtue is the highest virtue.
Zarathustra asks, why is gold held at the highest value if it has no real use or purpose? And he gives two answers. First, because it is hard to come by. Second, because it bestows. It beams its light around, sharing it with everyone. The same thing, he says, goes to what he defines as the highest virtue, the bestowing virtue. The bestowing virtue is when you are driven to give to others, not in order to get something in return, but just because you want to give. This virtue is also hard to come by, and only a few people are endowed with it. Gold, he says, is held in such high regard and value because it represents this virtue to us, the best virtue of all.
Verily, I divine you well, my disciples. Ye strive, like me, for the bestowing virtue. What should ye have in common with cats and wolves? It is your thirst to become sacrifices and gifts yourselves, and therefore have ye the thirst to accumulate all riches in your soul. Insatiably striveth your soul for treasures and jewels, because your virtue is insatiable in desiring to bestow.
Zarathustra recognizes himself, and his disciples, as driven by the desire to develop this virtue in themselves, become bestowing ones. They don't want to be like cats and wolves, known for their selfishness. Because of this desire, they strive to become rich in spirit. Basically, they all want to go through the three metamorphoses, where the spirit accumulates powers and knowledge, and becomes a creative spirit, one that creates its own values. But it becomes something more. When it is so filled to the brim with content, it is naturally driven to spread it around. Thus, it becomes a bestowing spirit.
Ye constrain all things to flow towards you and into you, so that they shall flow back again out of your fountain as the gifts of your love. Verily, an appropriator of all values must such bestowing love become, but healthy and holy call I this selfishness.
One who has this virtue becomes an individualist, who does not follow the values of the herd. Instead, he appropriates these values and changes them to create new values. He thirsts for knowledge, so he can create new things out of it. It is a selfish way of life, but it is a healthy selfishness. First, because it results in growth. Secondly, because it is not harmful to those around you, but actually benefits them. When you are such a person, you naturally want to enrich the people around you, not to take from them.
Another selfishness is there, an all too poor and hungry kind, which would always steal, the selfishness of the sick, the sickly selfishness. With the eye of the thief it looketh upon all that is lustrous, with the craving of hunger it measureth him who hath abundance, and ever doth it prowl round the tables of bestowers.
There is, however, another type of selfishness. Zarathustra doesn't say that selfishness is always good. Only the type of selfishness that he described, one in which you go through the metamorphoses of the spirit and develop a bestowing virtue, is good. If you are selfish without also possessing the bestowing virtue, you become a very different individual. What Zarathustra calls sick selfishness is one that comes out of a poor spirit, which has no content of its own to share with others. This type of spirit only wants to steal from others.
Sickness speaketh in such craving, and invisible degeneration. Of a sickly body speaketh the larcenous craving of this selfishness. Tell me, my brother, what do we think bad and worst of all? Is it not degeneration? And we always suspect degeneration when the bestowing soul is lacking. Upward goeth our course from genera on to supergenera, but a horror to us is the degenerating sense, which saith, all for myself.
When a spirit is poor, when it achieves no growth, it eventually decays and degenerates. It starts to believe that everything should serve it. Thus, it loses the ability to learn and grow from what it takes from others. It only chews it up and remains the same. As a result, it remains forever hungry and destructive to its surroundings.
Upward soareth our sense, thus is it a simile of our body, a simile of an elevation. Such similes of elevations are the names of the virtues. Thus goeth the body through history, a becomer and fighter, and the spirit, what is it to the body? Its fights and victories herald, its companion and echo. Similes are all names of good and evil. They do not speak out, they only hint. A fool who seeketh knowledge from them.
Zarathustra reminds us that it is the body that is the active agent. When he speaks of growth and health of the spirit, it should actually be understood as growth and health of the body. Even a fully grown adult body can still grow, and growth means that it becomes healthier and stronger. What is the spirit, then? The spirit is not an entity, as many believe. It is merely the way we understand the phenomena of our body. We create similes to describe the feelings and experiences that our body goes through, and the symbolic world is what we call the spirit. We should therefore beware of thinking that the spirit has an existence of its own.
Give heed, my brethren, to every hour when your spirit would speak in similes. There is the origin of your virtue. Elevated is then your body, and raised up. With its delight enraptureth it the spirit, so that it becometh creator, and valuer, and lover, and everything's benefactor.
What we can learn by studying the spirit is what is good for our body. When the body is elevated, you experience something that you can explain only in similes. When your spirit starts to speak in such a way, you know that you are experiencing growth. You then know that you are on the right path towards becoming a bestowing one.
When your heart overfloweth broad and full like the river, a blessing and a danger to the lowlanders, there is the origin of your virtue. When ye are exalted above praise and blame, and your will would command all things, as a loving one's will, there is the origin of your virtue.
When he talks about the origin of your virtue, he means the origin of the highest virtue, the bestowing virtue. He now begins to describe the similes, the spiritual sensations that are signs that you are developing this virtue. It is a sense of power, a sense that you are above the laws of humans and can create your own rules. And at the same time, you feel an overflowing heart, wanting to share your happiness with others.
When ye despise pleasant things, and the effeminate couch, and cannot couch far enough from the effeminate, there is the origin of your virtue. When ye are willers of one will, and when that change of every need is needful to you, there is the origin of your virtue.
When you are in this state, you want only powerful experiences, and small indulgences lose their meaning to you. You realize that all those little desires are just expressions of one will, and that this will is a powerful force surging within you. You then feel a need to change these little needs into big needs that will give expression to this will and result in powerful experiences. When you feel this need, you know that you are developing the bestowing virtue.
Verily a new good and evil is it. Verily a new deep murmuring and the voice of a new fountain. Power is it, this new virtue. A ruling thought is it, and around it a subtle soul, a golden sun with the serpent of knowledge around it.
When you achieve this state, you know that you have become a new fountain, able to create new values. You become like the sun, powerful and overflowing, and able to bestow your goodness on others. And this power is gained through wisdom that directs you on how to use this power. Thus, you become like the symbol of the serpent around the sun.
2. Here paused Zarathustra a while, and looked lovingly on his disciples. Then he continued to speak thus, and his voice had changed.
This chapter is divided into 3 parts. We have now moved to the second part, in which Zarathustra changes the subject.
Remain true to the earth, my brethren, with the power of your virtue. Let your bestowing love and your knowledge be devoted to be the meaning of the earth. Thus do I pray and conjure you. Let it not fly away from the earthly, and beat against eternal walls with its wings. Ah, there hath always been so much flown-away virtue. Lead, like me, the flown-away virtue back to earth, yea, back to body and life, that it may give to the earth its meaning, a human meaning.
Before he parts from his disciples, he gives them a warning. As he said, the spirit has no reality of its own, and is merely the symbolic way in which our consciousness perceives the phenomena of our body. But the symbolic realm is very powerful, and it tempts you to believe that it is a world of its own, tempts you to leave the body behind and become part of the world of spirit. Zarathustra warns them not to give in to this temptation, and remain true to the earth, as he showed them. Don't believe that there is an eternal realm of existence beyond earthly life. Remember that everything comes from the body, that is part of this earth. Instead of trying to escape the body and the earth into the realm of pure spirit, do what he does. Purify all the spiritual concepts from the nonsense created by the believers in pure spirit, and connect these concepts back to their origin, back to the earthly body.
100 times hitherto hath spirit as well as virtue flown away and blundered. Alas, in our body dwelleth still all this delusion and blundering. Body and will hath it there become. 100 times hitherto hath spirit as well as virtue attempted and erred. Yea, an attempt hath man been. Alas, much ignorance and error hath become embodied in us. Not only the rationality of millenniums, also their madness breaketh out in us. Dangerous is it to be an heir.
Human history is full of times that thinkers have adopted the belief in pure spirit, believing that they can transcend the body. And the cost has been dear. The concepts that they've created, negating the earth and the body, have weakened the human race and made it sickly. The humans of today are victims of all these past times, and our bodies became wretched and sickly, affecting our spirit as well.
Still fight we step by step with the giant chance, and over all mankind hath hitherto ruled nonsense, the lack of sense. Let your spirit and your virtue be devoted to the sense of the earth, my brethren. Let the value of everything be determined anew by you. Therefore shall ye be fighters. Therefore shall ye be creators.
Our life is ruled by chance, which Zarathustra calls a giant. Indeed, chance is a giant, which is present in our life at every single moment, and can affect it in many ways. But past thinkers believed that this giant could be overcome. If we develop a happy character, even chance will not be able to destroy its happiness. Zarathustra is one of these thinkers, but he says that those before him have failed. Because humans are wretched and sickly, they are vulnerable to chance and can become its victims. he implores his disciples to fight to change the situation.
Intelligently doth the body purify itself, attempting with intelligence it exalteth itself. To the discerners all impulses sanctify themselves, to the exalted the soul becometh joyful. Physician, heal thyself, then wilt thou also heal thy patient. Let it be his best cure to see with his eyes him who maketh himself whole. 1,000 paths are there which have never yet been trodden, 1,000 salubrities and hidden islands of life. Unexhausted and undiscovered is still man and man's world.
How do we cure ourselves? We already know the answer. Through battling old values and freeing ourselves from them, and creating new values. There is no guarantee that these values will be good for us. It's all experimentation. But through these experimentations, we are developing a more powerful self, purifying ourselves of the concepts that made our body wretched, and healing our spirit. We become exalted, our soul becomes joyful, and our body becomes healthier.
Awake and hearken, ye lonesome ones. From the future come winds with stealthy pinions, and to fine ears good tidings are proclaimed. Ye lonesome ones of today, ye seceding ones, ye shall one day be a people. Out of you who have chosen yourselves shall a chosen people arise, and out of it the Superman. Verily a place of healing shall the earth become, and already is a new odour diffused around it, a salvation-bringing odour, and a new hope.
The humans of today are too wretched to be able to reach the level of the Superman, and walking the path that leads to it will make you lonesome. But Zarathustra urges his disciples not to despair. Eventually they will be many, and will be able to form a community where they can be friends and challenge each other to experiment more and more. Out of this fertile ground, the Superman will be born.
3. When Zarathustra had spoken these words, he paused, like one who had not said his last word, and long did he balance the staff doubtfully in his hand. At last he spake thus, and his voice had changed.
We come to the third part, and once again he changes the subject. In the first part he imparted some knowledge, in the second part he gave them a warning, and now he is going to give a command to his disciples.
I now go alone, my disciples. Ye also now go away, and alone. So will I have it. Verily I advise you, depart from me, and guard yourselves against Zarathustra. And better still, be ashamed of him. Perhaps he hath deceived you. The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends.
Zarathustra wants his disciples to rebel against him, and go their own way. Basically, he is telling them to enter the lion stage. This is how they will prove themselves to be good students of his teachings. He knows it isn't easy to rebel against a beloved teacher, so he prods them to do so.
One requiteth a teacher badly if one remain merely a scholar. And why will ye not pluck at my wreath? Ye venerate me, but what if your veneration should some day collapse? Take heed lest a statue crush you.
He goes on and explains why their adulation is bad. The underlying message is, again, that they should become their own thinkers, not follow someone else's thought.
Ye say ye believe in Zarathustra, but of what account is Zarathustra? Ye are my believers, but of what account are all believers? Ye had not yet sought yourselves, then did ye find me. So do all believers, therefore all belief is of so little account. Now do I bid you lose me and find yourselves, and only when ye have all denied me will I return unto you.
This, of course, is a paraphrase of the New Testament. During the Last Supper, Jesus tells the apostles that some among them will betray him and deny him, but he will nevertheless rise from his grave and return to them. Zarathustra rejects this type of faith where denying the spiritual leader is a bad thing. He bids his disciples to deny him, and go their own way. Only after they succeeded in becoming creators of values will he return to them.
Verily, with other eyes, my brethren, shall I then seek my lost ones. with another love shall I then love you. And once again shall ye have become friends unto me, and children of one hope. Then will I be with you for the third time, to celebrate the great noontide with you.
When he returns to them, things will be different. Then the relationship will not be that of master and disciples, but of friends who have different worldviews and argue about them, but are all driven by the same hope, the hope of surpassing man and creating the Superman. After some more time, they will all meet together again to celebrate what he calls the Great Noontide.
And it is the great noontide, when man is in the middle of his course between animal and Superman, and celebrateth his advance to the evening as his highest hope, for it is the advance to a new morning. At such time will the down-goer bless himself, that he should be an over-goer, and the sun of his knowledge will be at noontide. Dead are all the gods. Now do we desire the Superman to live. Let this be our final will at the great noontide. Thus spake Zarathustra.
Again, we see Zarathustra using different times of the day as metaphors. The Great Noontide is the moment when humanity reaches a tipping point, when it realizes it has to change its values and work towards the Superman. Until that point, they must live as downgoers, trying to destroy what man is right now. From that moment onward, they will start living as overgoers, creating the values that will give birth to the Superman. When this will become the will of the human spirit, we will know that the human race, in its entirety, is on the path to become a bestowing one.